Main Streets and Back Roads is our longest running series. When we asked you to choose your favorite program, most of you chose Main Streets and Back Roads. One viewer wrote us, although there are tons of shows to choose from, there's one that sticks out in my memory. It's a show you did about Cape Cod. The highlight was a visit to Jack's Outback in Dennis. I killed myself laughing.
We cater to New Yorkers.
Oh, do you? The ladies with the hats?
They all wear sandals and they got funny looking kids.
Much of life along 6A seems to revolve around the arts. Even Jack's Outback, a restaurant where Jack practices the fine art of
aggravation. I do a lot of aggravation.
As the name suggests, the restaurant is tucked behind 6A. The owners say it's difficult to find on purpose.
That way we can keep away a lot of the people, all the New Yorkers.
Ixnay.
And the New Jersey. In that case, another 500 feet in the woods would have been even better. Besides, the local Chamber of Commerce prefers that we're back here anyway. You know, just so we're not in the tourist line of fire.
Anthony Marks wrote us, the story I liked best was the story that was done in Vermont on Fred Tuttle for Congress. Well, as you can tell, Anthony, I'm rather a big Fred Tuttle fan myself.
You don't have to go to Hollywood to find movie stars. In fact, there's quite a few right here in Tunbridge, Vermont.
John O'Brien doesn't just tend sheep, he makes movies. His latest film is called Man with a Plan, and it stars Fred Tuttle as a farmer who runs for Congress because, well, he needs the money. Some of the film's best moments were totally unrehearsed, like this one.
There was no way Fred could study for the big debate and drive at the same time. So at the last minute, he got himself a chauffeur.
Hey, you're going to the house.
No, I ain't going in the house.
Reverse back.
Mr. Tuttle, your closing remarks.
I spent all my life in the barn. Now I just want to spend a little time in the house.
Now, how did you do on your income tax?
Cheat on income tax every year, you know. You put down stuff you've bought, you didn't buy, and all that stuff, you know, to cover up. You know, they do that down in Washington, so we can do it here, see?
This email came from Robert Merrill of Methuen, Massachusetts. He says his favorite episode was one where I was driving around Maine, Kennebunk, with a fellow named Hartley Lord. He calls it a fantastic episode. I could never forget Hartley Lord. What a great guy, and boy, could he tell a Maine joke with a great Maine accent.
Some say this sense of humor is what gets the Mainers through the long, cold winters. That and stories like this one from the inimitable Hartley Lord.
I was up in the West Kennebunk the other day. Says, you know that fellow Purvis Weber hangs around the store. You see, they never did a lick of work as far as I know. Well, I came in one morning, and I says, "Morning, Purvis. Did you hear what happened uptown last night?" Purvis says, "No, Norman. What was it?" Well, Norman says, Henry Jackson came home, found his wife in bed with another man. He killed them both, and they got him in the jail up in Alfred. Well, Purvis says, "Norman, it could have been worse." Norman says, Purvis, says, "I've known you for over 25 years, and no matter what I tell you, you always come back at me with it could have been worse. Now, what in God's will could have been worse about this? Here they are both dead, and he's in the jail." "Well, Norman," Purvis says, "night before last, he'd have shot me."
Another viewer wrote us, "I'm looking forward to your anniversary show. The Chronicle program I enjoyed most was on Sebago Lake. We've been going to the Maine Lakes region since the 1940s, and that show brought us back for an impromptu surprise visit to our favorite weekend getaway spot." 100 miles north of Boston, there is a place some consider paradise, a place of solitude and recreation, a summer mecca for the fortunate who know it by name. Sebago Lake, Maine.
Here's another letter. Stephen Donahue wrote, "Dear Chronicle staff, my favorite Chronicle piece was in 1993 or 94 about Ventford Hall in Lenox, Massachusetts. After seeing the report, I moved to Lenox and got involved with the group that became the Ventford Hall Association. It changed my life."
Ventford Hall. Despite its decaying majesty, this Gilded Age cottage still stands proud. Lenox residents care very much about Ventford Hall. They have come together to try to save this building.
Pauline Kelly wrote us, "My favorite show was the Mount Washington Resort. I like all the main streets and back roads," which reminds me of a little trip we took down the Mount Washington Auto Road when our Chronicle van almost caught fire. It's true what they say, check your brakes.
The hulking mass of Mount Washington and its namesake hotel spread out below is an image that is hard to get away from in this region. Unique here, too, are the frequent flurries that add to the cover, but in this day, also covered over the famed view of the hotel below and Mount Washington beyond. Later, back down in the valley, it did clear, and in a fading winter light, one of the most eloquent reasons for being here at this time of year didn't require a word.